This is the Biz Call. Question 1. What's your name?
Bob Butterfield.
Question 2. What's the name of your business?
It's Butterfield Associates, Inc., and we do business as Real Property Management Vancouver and Butterfield Consulting and Tax Services.
Wow. Okay, question 3. Describe your business in a few sentences.
Yeah, the Real Property Management Vancouver, we handle property management for commercial business as well as residential business. And we are a full-service property management company. What that means to people is essentially we take over for the owner and handle all from repairs to collecting rents, delinquencies, as well as finding tenants for the owner. On the Butterfield Consulting and Tax Services, we do business consulting and tax preparation and tax services for businesses as well as individuals.
Okay, question 4. What's your revenue model?
It's web-based and subscription-based. So what I mean by that is that people will come in via the web, whether it be an owner or a tenant, and then the subscription side is that we develop revenue from the rents that are collected and or the taxes that we're doing or business accounting for the particular individual or businesses.
Okie doke. Question 5. Are you brick and mortar, online, or both?
We are both.
Question 6. How did you decide to get into this business?
That's an interesting question. I really didn't decide necessarily to get into these business topics. I just knew that at one point in my career I wanted to be a business owner, and the opportunity came from a friend of mine who happened to own a property management company, and we entered into an agreement about 4.5 years ago, and the topic happened to be property management.
And I'm just going to kind of get into a 6A question here. Do you have an accounting background, and did you kind of do this from a numbers standpoint, or was there some other entry point?
So to answer your question specifically, no, I do not have an accounting background. I do have a financial background. I used to have my Series 7 license and invest for people. I spent 20 years in the employee benefits arena working for the providers, meaning the Blue Crosses, Blue Shields of the world, Cigna, Great West Healthcare, that supplied employee benefits to various companies in the area. What happened, some things I think I'm lucky, or there's some divine intervention or something going on, but I had an individual who was working for a CPA firm, very unhappy because the owner and the management team didn't come through with the promises that they gave this individual. He had worked there for almost 4 years, happened to be the son of a friend of mine, and we started talking about him potentially working for us. So I interviewed him, and he was working in the state of Oregon, which is an income tax state, and we're in the state of Washington, which is a non-income tax state. So it saved him 45 minutes on a commute and 9% of his income to come over and work for us as the controller. And he and I had been talking about potentially purchasing a tax block of business. And so subsequently what happened was I have a CPA working for me as a controller, and another opportunity came up to buy out an older lady that was looking to retire. She came across some health issues and needed help with her tax business. So we entered into an agreement, and he currently runs that as the active CPA in that firm.
I love that story, and one of the reasons why I like it is because I think our listeners need to hear that opportunity sometimes looks like luck, but it's still opportunity. It's just a good fortune of timing.
Absolutely.
Good. Question 7. Why would customers choose you over your competition?
I think the biggest thing, especially in the property management business, is that the bar is really low. as I was investigating the company that I was potentially going to purchase from my friend, I recognized that the bar was really low, and that happened both on the owner side, as the owner was engaging with property management companies, as well as the tenant side. So what we do is that we conduct business how business is supposed to be conducted. If you email us, we email you back. If you call us, we call you back. We 100% answer all phones. We don't have an automated system, so it's a little old school in that fashion, but what we find is that the tenants really like to be able to engage with us on a personal level. So we're meeting expectations for those individuals, and as we've gone along, especially in the infancy of our business into property management, we recognize that there might not even had been a bar. It's an industry that needs some help, and people need to, they need to do what businesses are supposed to do. They need to take care of the people that they serve. And when you do that, you meet or exceed expectations of the people that you're serving.
Question 8. If you have one, what's the exit strategy or the long-term goal?
Yeah, so we do have an exit strategy. Actually we have 2 of them as I think about it. One is that I have 3 children, 2 of which are in college right now. One wants to be a CPA, so he's in a accounting major at a college. And the other one really loves the construction side. He loves to assemble things. So there's an opportunity there for my 2 of my boys to take over. And then the other opportunity is for an employee that shows that they would like the opportunity to take over from an ownership standpoint. And at that point, we would engage with them on that level as well.
Okay. Question 9. What are you doing to increase your business?
Well, I think that really goes back to question number 7, which says, why would somebody choose us? Right now, currently, we are not doing a lot of marketing per se. We do some SEO and pay-per-click advertising at a clip of about $600 a month, which is, anybody that has done that knows that that's really pretty minimal. We purchased the organization at 115 doors, 115, and now we're up over 600 in 4.5 years. So when I say that we're not really doing anything, what we're doing is that we are doing what businesses are supposed to do. We treat the people that we serve with respect, we answer their questions, and we take care of them. And from there, word of mouth spreads, and we've really struggled to keep up with our growth.
That's what I'm hearing. I like the fact that old school is, in terms of doing business, if I hear you right, is person to person. And the best way to get referrals is person to person. It's the personal relationship that sounds like it's really coming through here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. How do you, if you do, how do you measure any marketing success?
We do measure marketing successes. Really, it's in 3 ways. The more technological or scientific way that we do it is through the Net Promoter Score and Google reviews. But really, at the end of the day, the one that means the most to me is the one that I measure, which is how many phone calls am I getting about a bad interaction with an individual or a bad experience. I try to teach the people that we work with that we manage experiences. And every time somebody picks up the phone, every time you send an email, every time you send a text, somebody's having an experience with you. And what is the outcome of that experience? And hopefully it's
I like that. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Question 11. Yes or no? Are you profitable?
Yes.
Good. Question 12. How many employees do you have?
15.
Okay. Question 13 and 14. 2 sides of the same coin. Question 13. What's the best decision you've made so far?
The best decision I made is to learn how to hire. So over 20 years of the employee benefits world, I started out in sales and then moved my way up over the years into an executive role. And during that time, I took a class at the University of Chicago Booth School of Management. And the professor kept talking about control the pieces, control the whole. And I, at first, didn't quite understand what he was talking about. And as the class continued to move forward, I understood that controlling the pieces means the life cycle of an employee, which will control the whole, which is the experience that that employee has. So I took a step back and I said, after receiving several questions from the professor in class that said something like this, "Who are you hiring?" And I would answer, "A salesperson." "Who else are you hiring?" "An account manager." Okay, so you know those two. What are you looking for in that individual? "Well, that they can sell." "Okay, is that it?" And then it just started to blossom from there. What I recognized is that I was being very simplistic and myopic in my view of how to hire an individual. So I took a step back and I literally went through this process of saying, what traits am I looking for in an individual? I'm looking for somebody that's ethical, that's well-rounded, that's intrinsically motivated, that is a good communicator. And then I said, okay, well, but how in an interview am I going to get that information out? So I spent a lot of time to get in all of those categories, which totaled 13 at the time. I took and wrote down 3 to 5 questions in each category. And so a question might be, if I'm hiring for a salesperson, most salespeople are not extremely detailed. And account managers, we want them more detailed. And so I would ask them a series of questions, and one could have been like, what of these specific categories, what do you look for in a business to be represented? And I might give them a list of 7 or 8 them for, based off of the aforementioned list.
Go ahead.
A manager. And what I noticed, the sales folks would just try and remember that off the top of their head. And the account managers would write them down. And so I just knew the level of detail. Now, that wasn't the only thing that would put them into an account management team or into a sales team, but another question would be, what motivates you? And really what I'm looking for in that is the person intrinsically motivated? Is it just in their DNA to do a good job? Because when the chips are down, I need a person that's how they're wired, to do a good job. And a lot of people would give the answer of money motivates me. Well, based off of the books, some of the books that I've read, but in particular there's one called Drive by Daniel Pink, which is a phenomenal book that talks about money being a motivator of the hierarchy of needs. I think it's Pavlov, if I remember. His hierarchy of needs. So once the basic needs are met, money is no longer a motivator for people. And so if we can take the basic needs for people off the table, now what makes them click? And we need an intrinsically motivated person. So there's really an objective and a strategy as to why I'm asking these specific questions. And now all of a sudden I'm onboarding them. I'm detailed in my onboarding. And then when they exit the program, I'm very detailed in them. I have this whole thing drawn out in a spreadsheet. And so what I found is when I started doing that, I was hiring the right people and my turnover plummeted. And people stay with us.
See, I think what I want our listeners to really focus on, first of all, that's a great answer. But I don't know that you mentioned one thing that could be listed or really even gleaned from a printed or an emailed resume.
Correct.
This is all much more relationship based, and that's an important point I want our listeners to definitely make sure that they don't miss. This is great stuff. Okay, so now let's go to the other side. Question 14. What's been the worst decision you've made so far?
Not doing this sooner. over the years, I knew that I wanted to be, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, I knew I wanted to be a business owner. But everybody that I talked to in doing my research about business and owning a business said you have to be passionate about your business. And I'm like, what am I passionate about? Well, I'm a former college football and baseball player. I coach college football and high school football. And, I'm passionate about athletics. And I'm passionate about X and Y, but those weren't really business topics that I felt like I could move in a good direction. And so it took me a long time, like I said, 20 years in employee benefits. And then it dawned on me that I'm passionate about building teams. So therefore my topic is removed. As long as I have a team to build and get people in place and motivate people, and the people that we work with are inspiring, and you're not waking up every single day scratching your head on why am I going to work for this particular outfit or company. We do a lot of things for our employees. For example, their birthday is a holiday around here, so they get their birthday off. It's an important thing. We believe that Christmas is a good thing, so we ask them if they want to take a 1% out of their check, and the last paycheck in November, we match whatever they have in there. So it takes some of the pressures off of them having to come up with money, and that everybody, knock on wood, has a good Christmas. Because it's a good time of year, and we want to celebrate those things. So that's what I meant by, we should have done this earlier, and I just wasn't in tune enough with myself to figure out that my topic and my passion is to build teams.
Great stuff. All righty. Question 15. You can freeball this. Is there anything we didn't cover that you would like to let our listeners know about?
I think probably to reiterate a little bit about what I said is just we haven't reinvented the wheel to get the growth that we've had. What we have done is just made basic business practices our mantra, and to do the things that we want to do. Ask yourself, do you like sitting on hold waiting for somebody to answer a phone for 20 minutes, 10 minutes? When people get on the phone after those experiences, they're pretty heated, and it's just not a good experience. So we answer the phone. Do you want somebody to get back to you when you call them and have to leave a message? It's not about making mistakes. It's about how do you correct the mistake. The sign of a good or a great company is recognizing that people are going to make mistakes, the company's going to make mistakes, but how quickly do you bring resolution, and is the resolution right? And a right answer might not be right for the company in all aspects, but we got to do the right thing.
Good deal. All righty. So once more, slowly, give us the name of the business and your URL where people can get in touch with you.
Name of the business is Real Property Management Vancouver, or if you're looking for tax help, it's Butterfield Consulting and Tax Services. The URL is realpropertyvancouver.com is our website, and ButterfieldTax.com is the website for the tax services side.
If you'd like to plug your business on the BizCall podcast, simply visit thebizcall.com and fill out the form. If you become a guest, you'll receive a free lifetime membership to the BizCall discussion and networking list. If you're too shy, you can still join the BizCall list at thebizcall.com.